So let's start by doing this flower. So I'll draw it, then you guys can try it, and then we can continue with the other structure. So let's go here to Inventor. I'll go here to Part. And actually, there we go. What does a flower need? A pot, right? So let's do a pot first. So how would you do a pot? It's actually very simple. So that just to motivate how we're gonna think today. So I'll do a sketch here in the XY plane, and I'll draw. Don't worry about units today so far, just about defining stuff. But I'm gonna draw something. Actually, I'm gonna draw something that looks like this. So a little base like that, and then something that looks roughly like this. Then I can modify the dimensions, don't worry. I'll just come like that. So what am I doing? A cross section of this thing. But then you can come here to where it says 3D model and revolve. And it's gonna select that profile. And then it's gonna ask me to select an axis. So I can go here to, there we go. So there, very nicely, you get a pot. We'll be modifying these things later. In fact, I can make it taller or whatnot, but I'll leave it in here. So now for the flower itself, one thing that I'll do is that I'll go here to origin. Let's go over to, let's say, the XY plane. There we go. Let's do a sketch. And we're gonna start by doing a spline, like here. And it will come from this point and I'll say, okay, just suppose that that is your flower in there, and I'm gonna finish that sketch. And now what I'll do is I'll go here to sketch, I'll go here to this base, and I will do a tiny circle. And we'll give this a dimension of, yeah, that's fine, 0.5. Maybe I might make it bigger, it doesn't matter. But we go here to 3D model, then to this command that's called sweep, and it automatically recognizes that profile and that line. So now, by the way, you can make a lamp, you can make a flower, you can make a lot of things in the same structure. If you see my Disney video from last summer, I made the Luxo Junior lamp, just like this. Anyway, you have like the stem, you have the pot. So now let's do the flower itself. So I'll do a sketch now on this face right here. Oh, there we go. And I'm gonna draw a line that's gonna come from this point all the way like that. And I'm gonna click on finish. And the reason why I'm doing that is because then I go to where it says plane, and there's multiple planes that you can create. If you guys know from math, right? Have you guys taken math 1 or math 2? I'm not sure which math they teach it, but you know, you have a line and a point defines a plane. 3 points define a plane. 2 vectors on a point define a plane. The one that I like is the point and line. So I click on that one. So I go to that point. I go to that line. So what do we have? Now a plane that chops that in half. And the reason why we're doing that is because I'm going to do a sketch on that plane. And I'm going to use my friend, the project geometry tool. And I click that. So what does it do? That circumference, it's projected as a line on this plane right here. So I'm going to click on that line. I'll make it a construction line. Then I will go to like this. Then I'll draw another line that goes maybe like that. Maybe let me go with this line. Oh, one moment. Let me go like this and like that. I'm gonna click on these 2 lines. I'll make them perpendicular. That line and that line, they should be perpendicular too. So what do we do? Another revolve. So let's go to 3D model, revolve. It selects that. Then for the axis, that line in there. So now we got at least, you know how flowers have like the bulb, right? Down there. So that's like that part. So now let's do the petals. This is the most fun part. So for this, what we could do is yet another plane. And this plane, I'll do it like this. So I'll go here to sketch. I'm clicking on this. Actually, I can also use that plane. It's okay. So I'll click in here. And what we could do is go here to, maybe let's make our lives easy and let's use an arch. So I'm gonna convert project geometry, the circumference. That way I have that line shown in there, make it construction. And I'm gonna do an arch that looks like that. You can modify it, right, as you go, maybe depending on how big you want this to be. Then maybe I can draw something like that. You'll see what this means in just a second, don't worry. There we go, just like that. Again, you can define this and be a little bit more neat than me. I go here to 3D model, and now we're also gonna revolve this again. So let's see whether it allows me to select, oh, I think there's is this connected? No. Let me do one line that goes from here to there. There we go. Now revolve. There we go. Select axis. I'll do like that. However, I don't want, there's two things that you could do. One strategy, which is this one, is I could do a full revolve and then do an extrude to like cut this into segments. Or I can go here and say, I want that to be, let's say 140. No, actually that would be too much. Let's say 55 as an example, and I click on OK. You have something that looks like that. So then now you go to this command in there that's called circular pattern. So for select features, I will select this guy right there. Then for direction, that, and you can go to OK. So there you have like a very easy flower. And what can you can color this. So let's do this as a warm-up. Try to do a flower. It can be any design that you want. Sadly, it doesn't look quite like this one, but you could, just change a little bit the lines to make it look like that one. So give it a shot, and I'll walk around to help you guys with this. I'm gonna edit some of my parameters so that way this looks a little bit nicer. Let's do another flower. So this is flower one. Let's do, what's another type of flower? I mean, I'm happy with this one, but like, what's another? Actually, you know what? Let's do something like this, but let's make it into a lamp. I think that would be interesting. So let me go here to file. Let's do new park. So, but I'll do, let me do it very quickly. So I'm gonna do a base that looks like this. It goes like that. And then 3D model. I'll do a quick revolve of this thing around there. Then let me go here to planes. Where are my planes? There we go. I'm gonna do a sketch that goes from, let me do a spline from here, from that point. Like that. I click on okay. So this part is fine, right? Like how do you create? And if you do like this, you can modify a little bit the curvature of the spline, which might be needed at some point. So I'll go to here to finish, then sketch, face. I'll do a quick circle. That's gonna, actually, to demonstrate that it's not just a circle, right? What we could do, for instance, is a rectangle that is like a point rectangle like this. Let me make that 0.05, the 0.05. Actually, in one direction, it could be a little bit wider, so we can make that 0.1. And just to make it look kind of neat, I can make a circle like this. You guys don't need to do this, but just to show you the variety of profiles that you could potentially use. So 0.03. 0.03. So now we go to 3D model, then sweep. I can select that as my profile and this as the path. So it does like that. So we go here to OK. That looks kind of weird up there. So maybe I might change. Let's see. Oh, that's fine. I go here to edit sketch. That line, I'm gonna. If I go to this gray thing like that, now it should be pointing straight. So that should disappear. There we go. Anyway, suppose you reach a point like this. Let's make like a revolve from there, right? So what I'm gonna do is sketch on that face. And I'm gonna do a line that goes, actually I could do a line that goes like this. That's fine. Like that. The reason why I do these lines is because I want to identify that point, because it's like the middle of where we ended our profile. So go here to finish, then plane, point normal, so that point and that line. So that's how you get a plane that is right there. And now sketch over here. What we can do is, I don't know, let's project geometry. I can get that line. So why am I projecting? Because now I bring that line to our current plane. So it's easier to work from here. I'll make that a construction. Maybe to make our life easier, let's make this. I'm gonna make it like this. Like that. There we go. And then I'm gonna make that line and that line perpendicular. That line and that perpendicular, and then I think I should be not. I want to make this and that. There we go. So now everything is aligned like that. 3D model, then revolve of those two, and axis, I'll select that. So now I have something like that. Now, if I wanted to make this a little bit more precise, what I could have done is you go back to your revolution and I go here to edit sketch. Instead, what I could do is make that a construction, sorry. Let's make these two constructions. And I'm gonna pick those two lines like this. Then come like that. And I'll finish it like that. If I go to finish, let's see. I probably messed up somewhere. Let's see. There we go. So now you got a line. You want to take it another step? Let's do one last step from here, which is I can also like edit the sketch, and I could have said something like let me draw a quick. There we go. Make that a construction as well. Construction, sure. Actually, let me delete that for a second. Let me make that a construction. Let me bring this there like that. Wait. That's gonna give me an error because I have to reselect these areas again. And I have a chubby looking bulb. So you can try to do a lamp if a flower is too difficult. Now you're lamp designers and flower designers. Give it a shot in there. And obviously, once you get to this point, you can use the usual fillets in here to make that a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. Like that. I mean, some of these lamps exist. You know, have you guys had those lamps that it's like the cable is like a little bit tough, right? And you can place it in whichever configuration that you want. Take that. You guys want to add leaves to your plants? Let me show you one cool thing that you could do. If you go to your plant, for instance, this thing, and suppose there was a petal coming off from the plant, right? A way to do that is I'm going to show this sketch. So I'll change the visibility right here. Actually, I can barely see it. But if you go again to the plane, the point plane, let me see if, for instance, I can create a plane that is right there, right? That chops it in half. Because the spline had a point in that place. Let me show you again how I did that. So I go to point, and if you look at the spline, for instance, let me find another point. I can look at that point and the spline. So I could create a petal now on that plane. So suppose I use that one in there. So I go here to sketch, and I go like that, and then what we could do is draw, for instance, from here, a little petal of sorts like that. And now I can go here to extrude, and we could extrude that upwards by maybe 0.1. Oh, that's too much. Let's see 0.05. Okay, I like that. And then to make it look a little more realistic, let's just fillet those edges. And let's make that 0.01. Let's see. And I'm gonna create another petal up there too. You got one petal in there. Let's do another one in here on that plane. So let me grab another arch. I'm gonna select the origin again. And I like it because these are all irregularly shaped, right? I guess makes it look more realistic. And there's way better ways of doing this, by the way. This is just, it looks too blocky. It looks like a Lego, honestly. And now I can fill it this like that. Actually, let me see what happens if, there we go. I'm gonna, there, that's better. Edit. Bueno. And I'm gonna hide these planes. So now you can make your own 3D printed flower if you wanted to. So suppose you're happy with your pot like this. Here's one last little detail that you can add, and it's the following one in here. So I'll go here to, let me see, actually, let me see whether this will work. I'm gonna show that sketch. Let me make that visual. This is purely optional, but I think it could be fun. And I'm gonna do a sketch on that plane. And now I'll draw a little line that goes like that, and I'll make these two lines perpendicular like that. And I'm gonna leave that line like that, and then this I will hide the visibility. So I'll make a plane right here, a plane that is just parallel to this thing. And the reason why I'm doing this is because now I'll do a sketch on that face, and I'm gonna do a circle. And I will make, yeah, that circle can be 0.35 as an example, like this. And now there's a command in 3D model that's called emboss. I've used emboss a lot when I was designing the Diet Coke can. I'm not sure whether you guys have seen that video already or not. Doesn't matter, but this may or may not work because it's a little tricky here in Inventor, but let's give it a shot. Let's see whether this one works. Let me give it a 0.01. I click on OK. Oh, very good. So it essentially made an emboss of that circle in there. I could have also written the word Andy, and it would have done an emboss of the word Andy in there. And the reason why I'm doing that is because now I can go here to circular pattern, and I want to do a circular pattern of my emboss around here. I click on OK. So now you have a nice little decoration. Visibility. I don't know why the Mario Kart flower reminded me of these spots, because now what I could do is I can select that, and I'm gonna change the color of this. So let's make that red here. Let's see, where's R? Red, there we go. Then I'm gonna select that, and I'll make that white. Let's find it there. Go to OK. Now I'll select my sweep, and I'll select my flowers. Properties, I'll make these brush. Or maybe, let's see, yeah, brush. I think that should be fine. I'll make that brush too. And then everything else a different color. There we go. Okay, so what we're gonna do now is this tower in here. So now this is gonna be a little bit more difficult. We're gonna make a model of this. So I'll show you maybe 10 minutes. You guys can relax, enjoy. You can either work on your flowers or look at me while I do this. And then I'll let you guys try it, and I'll move around, and maybe on my free time I'll just add a couple more details. So let's do this thing. So I'm gonna go here to new. And actually, let me just do file, new part. Okay. So the very first thing with any design is to do the base. So I'll do here a quick circle that's gonna act as the base of our tower. And maybe for dimensions, I'll make just one. And then 3D model, I'm gonna make that 0.1 or maybe 0.05. There we go. So I'm gonna leave that as the base of my structure. So I was pointing out earlier that this thing has three pillars and then one sphere, another sphere in there. So let's try to do that. So I go here to sketch. I go over here and I can draw a line like that. I go here, I'll make that D. We can make that 0.15. And then we'll do a circle like that. I'll click on that line and make it construction. Now let's click on that pillar and let's make that 0.14, something like that. And then extrude, and we're gonna extrude that by 2. I mean, obviously though, we might change the numbers later, but let's leave it like this. Okay. So what can we do? Circular pattern. So I select this thing, I select this direction, and I'm gonna make 3. There we go. So very quickly, you have 3 pillars. In fact, I can always edit some of these things. I might make that 0.11 instead. There we go. Let me go here. Actually, I think it's even skinnier than that. Let's make that 0.08. I go to, okay. Good. So maybe here comes the first real test. How do we make the sphere? So to make the sphere, here's what I'll do. I'll go to sketch, and it's gonna ask me to select a plane. So I'll select the XY plane, and I'm gonna draw a line that goes all the way up to here as an example. And let me give it some dimension. So let's make that 0.6. Again, this is our version of the tower, right? Suppose that someone in your town contracted you to design it, so now it's up to you to do it. So we're gonna draw the profile of the circle like that. Actually, if that is 0.5, then what I'll make this also 0.25. There you go. So why am I doing this is because what I can do is here, go to my friend, the revolve. Where are you? Actually, hold on. Let me do 2 things. I'm gonna do it like that. Then I'm gonna come all the way like this. And I'm gonna define this to be 1.1. And I think the sphere above, so that one has to be much bigger, right? So I'm gonna change that and I'll make that 0.6. Oh, I should probably delete that for a second. Let me make that 0.6. There we go. So that adapts by itself. And this one will make it 0.5. So 0.5. And then let me change these to 1 second like that. And 0.25, just like that. Okay. And let's make that construction. So what can we do with this? Well, go here to sketch, then revolve. I can select those 2 profiles, and then for axis, that line. And we go to, okay. So you go to 2 spheres. So starting to look at this, there's a couple of things that you can modify. For instance, the columns, looking at them right here, they might actually be too spaced out. So then if I go to sketch 2, I can edit this, maybe make that distance 0.12. And I go here to finish. So now it looks slightly better. And then the same thing goes for the sphere. I can go over to edit in here, and I will make that 1. Okay. There you go. So this is the first initial part of this thing. Actually, maybe I'm gonna edit. I'll make that 0.5, and I will bring that to 1.1 again. There we go. Okay. So are you guys happy with this so far? Does this make sense? Okay. But this is, from here, it's actually pretty simple because now comes actually the most difficult step, which is making these bars that you see down there. So how do you make those? Well, you would make them like this. So we're gonna select, let me see if there's any of these planes that, there we go. So I'm gonna select this plane. And if I look from this, the bar seems to intercept it right there. So we're gonna do approximately, I'm gonna draw it out and then we'll see whether it works. It goes roughly like that, right? In fact, what is it? This is maybe like that. But I'm gonna make this one a construction. In fact, I'm gonna extend that a little bit more, and I'm gonna make, you will see what this is in just a second, but I'm just making like a little rectangle, right? As you can see in there. I'm just gonna make sure that these two are parallel, which they are. So I'll define this to be 0.025. I think that's reasonable. Then I can make, I don't know, like this distance. Oh, maybe make, no, here, actually, this should be fine. So then I go here to 3D model, and then we go to revolve, and I'm gonna revolve this, and along which axis? Well, along this axis right there. So go here to OK. So you got that little column in there. Good. Now let's do another sketch. I'm gonna show the visibility of this thing. And we're gonna do a sketch on the same plane that we were before, which is that one. And I'm gonna project geometry and do it on that line. So now I'm gonna do the exact same thing. Let me make these two perpendicular one more time. And maybe that, yeah, can be 0.25. Oi, 0.025. There we go. And now what do we do? 3D model, revolve, and then select axis, this. We're almost done. Let's make the sphere in there. So again, we'll do another sketch on XY, like that. And now it's gonna be fun. However, we can go here to project geometry, and let's see. Actually, yes, I think that point should be fine. So what we can do is literally a circle that goes like that. And then I'm gonna draw a line that goes like that. I'll make that circle construction, and then this is just like a hack. That way it's just a little bit easier. I'll do a semicircle like that. The 0.14 looks reasonable. Let's make that coincident. There we go. So 3D model, revolve, and select axis. Oh, that is the wrong axis. Okay. So you got that ball in there. And let me go to all the previous ones in here, and let me hide them. There we go. So what do we do from here? A circular pattern. So circular, select features. I'll go for, actually, no. Circular pattern, select features, 1, 2, 3. Select direction that, and I want 3. There we go. So that is roughly the base of that stuff, and then you can color it. So then what else can we do? So now we can do another plane. So let me do here this plane that's called offset from here. So I can say I want that plane to be at 0.6. Actually, 0.6 is too little. Let's say 0.9. Or 1.1, like that. I go to OK. And what we can do is, so this base, it's like, they have like, it's like a little, let me do a sketch in here. This is the last thing I'll do before I let you guys start trying it by yourself. But I can do a project geometry of that, that, and that. And what we can do from here is do a triangle. Let's see whether I want to find like the origin of those, but I just can't. Let me see if I can. I want to join them. I could also hide. Let's see. No, but I have to suppress it. Thinking what would be the best way. If not, I can just manually do that. So I can make that point 13. There we go. I'll make that angle in here 120. Then I can make that line and that line equal. There we go. And then I'm gonna make these two lines construction, and we can go over to, where are you? Circular pattern, geometry, that line, and then axis, that point, and we're gonna make 3. I go to OK, and then I can go to 3D model, and I'm gonna extrude that by 0.05. Actually, maybe less, 0.03. So now I have like one of those levels. So now the only thing that we need to do is to add a sphere. So that is very easy. We click on that face. Then we draw a circle. Actually, I am wrong. Let me hide that plane. I'm gonna create a new plane. So if you select that face, you can create a plane that bisects that thing. So now, yes, I can do a plane that is in here. And try to do a circle. Is that the... I think that should be fine. 0.1. And let's do... Actually, let me see. Like construction for a second. And let's see whether this will work. Okay. It looks decent, even though it's a little bit offset from where it's supposed to be. So I'm gonna correct that for a second. I mean, that looks decent. In other words, once you're happy with this, what you can do is just multiply it by 6. So go here to rectangular pattern. So I select that extrusion, that revolve. The direction is gonna be, let's see. I think that works very good. And then let's do 6 of these, and the distance can be 0.1. All right, let's play around a little bit with those. Maybe 0.19. Okay. Try to get to this point. Let me see. I'm gonna try. once you reach this point, and I can, if you watch the video, you can see how I added like those little details in here. The last part that remains is doing that column in there. And for that, it's just really simple from here. All you have to do is go here to, for instance, you can go here to sketch and do this face right there. And in a similar way that we did this pattern like that, we can also do a little bit of a pattern in there, or just make it, keep it simple and do a little circle like that. So perhaps let's go for the simpler route. And let me just do a column that goes roughly like that. And it seems that it's like this up to that point, and then it just stretches a little bit more, and there we're gonna put around this area right there, we can put a circle. There we go. So I'll make that a construction. We're gonna add it around there, and then we're gonna obviously make a revolve of this thing. But at least what this allows us to do is this. Wait, let me do a construction of this stuff. There we go. Wait. That's fine. I'll just look at that in a second. Just want to make sure that the dimensions are approximately correct. So we can, wait. 03. Oh. And now, actually, we could close that in there. There we go. And then 3D model revolve, and I'm going to select all of these profiles. Oh, I don't think I closed it down there. Okay. There we go. So I get the revolve. All of my profiles axes here. We can leave it like that. And now we can modify some of these dimensions looking at this in here. There we go. I just left it with these colors in there. So hopefully, and now I'll finish the video, and I'm gonna start walking around to help you guys.